Today marks 1480th day. Share lessons I learned and continue to learn with you. I hope these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help achieve your goals, really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I want to speak about a topic that I want to learn more about. And I think that speaking about it, reflecting on it, is really a great idea to really learn about some topic and get deeper into that. And today's topic is context. Context. I think such an important topic because when we hear content, when we think about facts, ideas, sometimes we forget that there's a different context. There's different story behind that fact. Sometimes we can really come up with different conclusions. Because when you think about people, people see exactly the same experience, exactly the same event, fact, that's exactly what's event. But they look for different lenses because they have different context of that event. And that context makes such a massive topic because now when we look at exactly the same event, we can potentially argue that what happened, even though that's what happened, is truly what happened to us before that led us to believe that this what happened in this event. So today we'll share more into understanding what the contexts are because there's a lot of different contexts. There is situational context, what happened before the event, what happened after event, really make a huge difference about understanding about that event itself. There is cultural context, that is beliefs, norms, values, because those culture is shaping meaning as well because different cultures sometimes could be erased differently at the moment. It's not the better or worse in any sense, but what is that it was raised differently. The things that we laughed about, the music that we listened to, the things that we were accustomed to, and knowing that there's norms, different norms, and culturally, we need to understand that sometimes when a person sees things differently, is because it's just raised differently. That's totally normal. So being able to really find the common ground and then looking from a common ground in the situation will make a difference. There's emotional context. That means that when you look into a situation, that means we can look into okay, who is more involved emotionally in this situation. So when you look at this person is extremely involved emotionally. So it might be that their cognitive powers are at the moment maybe lessen because they just too much in their emotions rather than rational thinking. So knowing that some people are just not about the content again, it's context. Context knowing that other person might be much more emotionally charged right now, and because of this, he doesn't see the same content. So knowing about that kind of context part of the communication is extremely important. There could be historical, what happened before the moment. At the same time, situational, like a historical moment is just we need to understand that sometimes people get extremely angry for a small thing. And it's like and it could be that there's such a small thing, like how we can get angry for such a small thing, but we do not understand what happened before. Because sometimes when the cup is getting full, people do not see that. You don't see it, the person is getting full as well emotionally. But when the last sip is totally full, even a small sip will make that cup leak. And I think that's again with a lot of things in the emotions as well. A person who is being draining or emotional, who was bringing all the emotions in, finally cracks out even a small thing. So when I think about a person just who became very emotional from a very small thing, one thing that we can really consider is that what were happening before that. How many times he was triggered with the small things until he really got triggered. It might be that there's a lot of things that we need to understand. There are a lot of things that might be that there's something happened with this kind of event in the past that makes them trigger to go back in the past as well. So there's so many things that we need to understand about history, just that context of the station that could help tremendously. Number 5 is relational. And I think that we need to understand the nature of the connection between people. Because it might be that two people experience exactly the same experience, but because they have developed a different relationship with themselves, it will end up totally different. Some people will see one experience as strengthening experience. Other people will see that distancing experience, and the way how what kind of relations do they have with each other? Because some things are great between each other, and some grades is not good. And because we need to understand what are the relations between. Because sometimes when I think of even like such a small thing as hugging, hugging sometimes for other people see hugging strangers is not good because it's strangers, not a family member. But family member, you're able to hug. And again, this the connection between people. Say like, and again, this is every single person see the context. Because and again, every single person has different understanding how the hug is supposed to be, who's supposed to deserve the hug, and anything in between. Like every single person has different. And the last one, number six, is environmental. Uh, so that's physical, external circumstances that we might not know. And I think that's a beautiful thing when you think about context, where we know that there is an event that happened, and the person who is looking at that event has totally different perspective. And again, we can start asking, what kind of external circumstances that we are not able to see? So be able to say, like when you look into the situation, I see so different. Could you help me understand what really made you think? What kind of context is in your mind that puts you in that thinking? And I think that's again when you really start looking not about the content but about the context. I think it's so much easier to really agree on the content because sometimes I think that one of the main reasons why most people do not agree or do not really find a common ground because they argue on the content without understanding there is two different contexts. And I think that when you understand the content, so that when we really clear out this is what we're arguing, this is what the content is, well, this is what we talking about. So when we know the content that's is true, only get that content side. Now we're able to look into the other side. So that those are two things, context side. Because I think that that's one of the main reasons why people are separating. Is that okay? I do not see. I don't see what you're seeing. And when we're able to explain our own context sides, I think that's much easier to explain. Okay, this is where I was coming from. Oh, okay. So now because I know your context, now I'm able to see why you see the content this way. I think it's such an important topic to learn about the context because context is one of the key aspects to really learn how to connect with other person because you're not listening about the content itself, but you're looking about the context that led to the content. I think that's a beautiful thing. So I hope you reflect on that and I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.